Shalom, my people, shalom. First, I'd like to give thanks to the Father, who's the head of my life, to the everlasting King. May the King reign forever. So, I'm actually live, but I don't see myself. Okay, let's see here. My people, shalom. First, I'd like to give thanks to the Father. I bet. So now I know that I have some audio. So let's go. Let's move it in. Let's try to keep it moving. I'm going to be reading out of my King James Version Bible today. All things are going to be King James Version Bible. Later on, if I feel like getting my Jewish Bible, I will. But what am I going to talk about today? The great discussion. All things, the Bible teaches, all things have been fulfilled if you read the whole thing. So it's true, you can actually listen to the Tanakh, and it gives you the understanding when everything was going to be fulfilled. Or you can go into the New Testament, and it gives you the understanding when everything was going to be fulfilled. But once you combine both of them, you have the complete understanding. And this is exactly what Christ would have been going through while he walked the earth, as well as the disciples. So we're supposed to listen to Christ, right? Totally. So what I want to do today is give you a little overview. I want to go to a little in the Torah, or a lot in the Torah, as well as in Revelation. And then we're going to correlate it with Christ's prophecy. So we're going to be in Leviticus. Let's see here. Give me 1 second to find it. I actually got my pen right here. We're going to be in Leviticus 26 today. We're going to be in Leviticus 26. Leviticus chapter 26. All right. So we're going to be doing some Torah teaching today, first of all, to see exactly what the Torah teaches and what the people of the first century under the Roman Empire would have understood, and what Christ was bringing back to the table. Because if you go through the New Testament, you realize that it was a lot of things being said in the Tanakh and Torah that those living in the first century did not understand. They had to get their understanding open a lot for the scriptures. And the reason why we can understand it more today is because we have the entire point in the Bible. We have the entire thing that we can read. We have the entire matter. Well, they didn't have the entire matter. They just had the Torah and access to some of the prophets. We don't have to worry about this today. So now, Leviticus chapter 26. And I'm going to prove through scriptures that the Bible has been fulfilled already, and we're actually living in the heavens and earth. I'm going to prove it through the scriptures. So first thing first, we're going to the Torah. We're going to see what the Torah say, and then we're going to go to Revelation. All right. Leviticus 26. Ye shall make you no idols, nor graven image, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall you set up any image of stone in your land to bow down unto, for I am the Lord your God. Ye shall keep my Sabbaths and reference my sanctuary. I am the Lord. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit, and your threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach into the sowing time, and ye shall eat your bread to the full and dwell in your land safely. So now you can see that the Most High is actually giving Israel, allowing Moses to tell Israel all of the blessings that they would have if they just followed his commandments and his statutes. If they walked in them and if they adhered to the Sabbath days and referenced the sanctuary, they would go through all of the blessings. The same thing that you can see in Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. Before the curses came, there was blessings. So he told them all of the blessings. So this is the same thing that he's doing right now. And I will give peace. I'm in verse 6. And I will give peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. All right. Listen to one of the promises or the blessings. He told them that he would rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. So Israel, if you do what I said, then you won't have to worry about those evil beasts or that sword. So now, once you go to Daniel 7, right, you see that it was 4 beasts that came up, right? So these are all alluding to what actually is talking about. See, everything was pulled from the Torah. Everything was pulled from the Torah. There was all covenants in the Torah. So we're reading about Israel right now. So the things, Daniel was an Israelite, right? So the things that Daniel saw in the captivity, Daniel 7, was the 4 beasts, right? So those 4 beasts were symbolic for nations. So listen to what listen to what the Most High is telling Israel again. Leviticus 26:6. And I will give peace in the land, no curses. And ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I will rid evil beasts out of the land. Remember, it was people in the promised land before they got there. These were the evil beasts. These beasts represent nations. How you know? Neither shall the sword go through your land. What does the sword represent? Warfare. This is all about war. This is not 2019. This is the warfare that they had thousands of years ago. They didn't have guns. They had swords. So now, verse 7, and ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. And your enemies shall fall before you by the sword, which we see throughout the Bible. For I will have respect unto you, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you. Very important. And ye shall eat old store, and bring forth the old because of the new. Verse 11, and I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. So now, listen to one of the promises that was given by the Most High if Israel did what they're supposed to do. Verse 11, and I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. So this was a promise in the beginning that if Israel did what they're supposed to do, they would get their covenant, and he would tabernacle amongst them. Where do we see this fulfillment at? We see this fulfillment in Revelation, right? In Revelation, we read how the Most High in Christ came down and tabernacled with mankind. See, they couldn't do it here because they failed. But we see the fulfillment in Revelation. So all this stuff is very important. We're going to get there in just a second. For now, when I teach, I'm going to start whatever you want to call it, because a lot of people ain't going to like what I say. But whatever I bring out this word, I want to start building the foundation now instead of just going straight to the scriptures. Because I think we have a lack of understanding the surrounding verses. So we're going to keep going. And I will walk among you and will be your God, and ye shall be my people. I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt. that ye shall not be their bondmen, and I have broken the bands of your yoke and made you go upright. This is literal Egypt, correct? We all know this. Verse 14, Leviticus 26 and 14. But if ye will not hearken unto me and will not do these commandments, and if you shall despise my statutes, or if you shall, or if your soul abhor my judgments, that ye will not do my commandments, but that ye break my covenant, I also will do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, the burning ague, ague, that shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of heart, and ye shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemy shall eat it. So right now, in Leviticus 26, we see the parallel of what's been said in Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 68, right? We have the Levitical account, then we have the one in Deuteronomy. So now, let's listen to what's all is being said. And I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies, that they hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursueth you. All right. So this was some of the curses. If Israel, antiquity Israel, the Israel of the old, the one that came out of Egypt, if they did not do what they were supposed to do, and these curses, as we know, actually followed their offsprings also. So first thing first, let's look up Daniel 9 and 13, just to set some of the tone. Daniel 9 and 13. Daniel 9 and 13 says, and it is written in the law of Moses. Hold on, I want to start at 12. And he had confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as it had been done upon Jerusalem. As it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil is come upon us. Yet made we not our prayer before the Lord our God, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth. So now, why did I read that? Why was that so important that I had to read that? Daniel understood that because Israel transgressed, mainly at this time, the southern kingdom, transgressed, they went into captivity under Nebuchadnezzar, King Nebuchadnezzar. So Daniel was making supplication unto the Most High for this. So Daniel was making supplication under the Babylonians, right? This was the first beast that was saw in his vision. We had three more beasts to go, right? The same beast that was not supposed to enter into the fields with swords unless Israel backslid or went against the covenant. Very important. So Daniel is relating them being under the Babylonians with them breaking the covenant or them going through the curses, right? So I'm telling y'all right now, each one of the captivities, especially the four that's shown throughout Daniel, the Babylonians, Medo-Persia, the Greeks, and the Romans. All four of them was because Israel went against the covenant. They didn't walk in the laws or the statutes. So let's keep going. And I will set my face against you. Leviticus 26 and 17. And I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies, that they hate you, reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursueth you. You remember it says the evil man or whatever pursueth when none, the wicked man pursueth or flee when no one pursued them, or something like that. I don't want to butcher it, so let me see if I can find it real fast, because I don't want to butcher it. Y'all know what I'm talking about, though. So let's see here. And my internet. Here we go, right here. I think it's the wicked flee when no one pursues. That would do that, wouldn't it? Hello. All right, let's see. And y'all, if y'all know the verse, y'all can go ahead and drop it in there. I know y'all know what I'm talking about, but let's see what the good old. While we're waiting, I'm gonna reread the verse then. Verse Leviticus 26:17. And I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursueth you. And there we go. And it's Proverbs 28:1. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as lions. So, according to Proverbs, the wicked flee when no one is pursuing them. According to Leviticus 26:17, you shall flee when none pursueth you. So, according to the Bible, the wicked spoken of in Proverbs would be actual Israelites. It would be the Israelites. It wouldn't be just regular people, according to scriptures. If we want to read everything, and I'm marking this in my Bible. That's why I'm doing this. If we want to stay in the context of the Bible, right? The same thing that the disciples and the apostles and the prophets, the same scrolls that they read from, we got to read from those same scrolls in the same manner, in the same context, to the same audience that they read to, or they learned, or the things what they did. So we can't take the Bible out of context. In order to understand it, we got to leave it in its historical setting. So historically, when the author of Proverbs, which was, some say, King Solomon. Let me mark this down real fast. Leviticus 26:17. So y'all, I love doing stuff like this. This is the only way you do it. I do my own reference in my own Bible. That's the only way I can learn. But anyway, so when Solomon was writing this, he would have understood, and he would have remembered this verse from the Torah, and he would have remembered the audience of this verse. So this is for the Israelites, okay? Now verse 18. And if ye will not yet for all of this hearken unto me, then I will punish you 7 times more for your sin. Now, this is when it's finna start getting juicy. Verse 19, and I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your heaven as iron, and your earth as brass. So now, what's so important about this iron and brass? Especially this iron. I'm just going to give you an illusion real fast, or something, how the Bible actually works. These words aren't just in the Bible just to be there. They all mean something. And all of the prophets, they knew the Torah. They knew the Torah completely. So when they saw these specific words, they would have went back, or they would have known what was being talked about. So, sorry y'all, I got my incense out. I got my frankincense and myrrh. I like my room smelling like the kingdom of heaven. So let me light my frankincense and myrrh back up. All right, so I got that going on. Hold on. There we go. So now, what's so important about that iron? Let's see here. Daniel 7 and 7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and is strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with its feet, and it was diverse from all of the other beasts that were before it. Also, Daniel 2. Daniel 2 and 40. The fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh into pieces and subdue all things, and as iron that breaketh all these things shall it break in pieces and bruise. Daniel 2 and load this first. Hold on. Daniel 2, 32 and 33. The image head was of gold. His breast and his arms of silver. His belly and his thighs of brass. His legs of iron, and his feet part of iron and part of clay. So these elements were used throughout those visions because it represented a type of power, and we know it represented those kingdoms, right? So now, let's go back to Leviticus 26 and 19. And I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your heaven as iron and your earth as brass. This is symbolic, or this is allusion for those kingdoms coming in and sacking Jerusalem and taking Israel into captivity. So now, verse 20, and your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield her increase, neither shall the trees of the land yield their fruits. Verse 21, and if ye walk contrary unto me, and will not hearken unto me, I will bring 7 times more plagues upon you according to your sins. Verse 22, I will also send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children, and destroy your cattle, and make you few in number, and your highways shall be desolate. Remember, once again, Daniel saw 4 beasts arise up, right? And those 4 beasts subdued Israel. So remember that. It's a lot of allusion. It's a lot of figurative language. It's a lot of imagery inside of the scriptures. Okay, a lot of this is not 100% literal. Okay, the Most High created everything. He created everything on the planet. That means when he goes to describe stuff, he has everything on the planet he can use to allude from in order to explain what he's saying, because he has everything. He created everything. So he uses all of his works in order to explain things to mankind, because mankind is supposed to be the smartest on the planet. So he uses all of the things that mankind came in contact with in order to explain to them the way he does things. He was breaking it down using things they could relate to. Okay, so now, peace and grace, Miss Nancy, indeed. I'm trying to get juicy. I'm trying to go through the Torah first before we hit Revelation. So I'm in Leviticus 26, hit nothing but Torah. Then we finna go to Revelation and link this in Revelation. And then we finna go show the fulfillment under the Roman Empire, which Revelation was under the Roman Empire, but we're gonna go show the fulfillment under Christ in the Roman Empire. So let's keep going though. I will also send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children, destroy your cattle, make you few in number, and your highway shall be desolate. And if you will not be reformed by me by these things, but will walk contrary unto me, then will I also walk contrary unto you. So he's giving them a time to repent, right? But he's saying, if you do not repent, Israel, I'm going to walk contrary unto you. And what's going to happen? Verse 24 in the middle, and will punish you yet 7 times for your sins. So remember, he's always using this number 7 also. This is going to be very important when we go into the book of Revelation. Very important. Because I'm here to tell y'all, the prophets, they only had the Torah and the Tanakh throughout the whole entire Bible, and they didn't say anything different. They didn't say anything new. The only new thing or the only difference was how society advances, the way you express yourself, your expression, your language. It changes as society advances. So you might say things one way now, but somebody might have said the same thing another way hundreds of years ago. The same thing in the Bible. So now, verse 25. And I will bring a sword upon you, and shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. And when ye gathered together, and when ye are gathered together within your cities, I will send the pestilences among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy. Listen, pestilence first, then they deliver into the hands of the enemy. Verse 26, and when I have broken the staff of your bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven, and they shall deliver you your bread again by weight, and ye shall eat and not be satisfied. So now, I know we have an allusion in the New Testament about hold on, let me find it real fast. Let me find it. Let me find it real fast. And all these things just come to my mind when I read it. That's Isaiah 4:1. It actually says 7 women would take hold of one man and say we would eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. And in this one it says what did it say? 10 women shall break your bread in one oven. So Isaiah 4:1 says 7 women about the bread. Leviticus 26 and 26 says 10 women dealing with the bread. And I think, is it Matthew 25? Matthew 25. Yep, Matthew 25:1. And then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins which took their lamps and went forth to meet their bridegroom. Right? So we have 10 women again. Once again, they never said anything new. So one of them, like Isaiah had 7 women dealing with the bread. Leviticus had 10 women dealing with the bread. Matthew had 10 women dealing with the oil. They all use the same type of allusions. You need to understand this when you read the Bible. They're all pulling from each other, which all actually pull from the Torah. So let's keep going. Verse Leviticus 26 and 27. And if you will not for all of this hearken unto me, but walk contrary unto me, once again, then I will walk contrary unto you also in fury. And I will chastise you 7 times for your sins. Verse 29. And ye shall eat the flesh of your sons, and the flesh of your daughters shall ye eat. And I will destroy your high places, and cut down your images, and cast your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols, and my soul shall abhor you. And I will make your cities waste, and bring your sanctuaries unto desolation. And I will not smell the savor of your sweet odors. So now, sanctuaries, right? When did the sanctuaries come? This comes during the temple, right? This comes during the temple. So, He said sanctuaries with an S to let it be known that both of your temples, every temple that has a sanctuary, is going to be destroyed because of this, because of your lack of following my statutes and judgment. And once we go to Daniel 9 and 26. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood, and until the end of the war, desolations are determined. Leviticus 26 and 31. And I will make your cities waste and bring your sanctuaries unto desolation, and I will not smell the savor of your sweet odors. And I'm gonna leave it right there right now. This is all Torah, right? So now, just to give a recap, 7 times more for your sins. I will bring 7 times more plagues. I will send wild beasts. I will punish you 7 times for your sins. I will bring a sword. I shall avenge. That shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. I will send the pestilences. I will break the staff of your bread. They should deliver you your bread again by weight. I will chastise you 7 times for your sins. Okay. This is the Mosaic covenant, right? This is the Torah. These are the promises or the curses that the Most High gave Israel, what was going to occur to them if they did not walk in his statutes and judgments and ordinances. So now, let's go to Revelation chapter 6. Let's go to Revelation chapter 6. We're going to actually learn today what the Bible teaches, okay? And I can promise you, nothing we're going to read in Revelation chapter 6 is going to have anything to do with America, China, Russia, or Donald Trump. Revelation was written under the fourth beast in Daniel, the same one that had that iron jaw to break things into pieces, the same one that subdued all of the other beasts as well as subdued Israel. That empire, 38863, I think. So, sorry about that, y'all. But all of this is going to come right into it because this is about the fourth empire, the Roman Empire. Roman Empire was destroyed 476 AD. So this was anything before 76 AD. We're going to read it right now. Revelation 6 and 1. And should I go? Before I take you there, I think I want to go back to the Torah. In Leviticus 26, we saw all of the promises. But I want to wrap this all up first before we go into Revelation. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32, which is another Torah-based book of the Bible. So, Deuteronomy 32 is actually the Song of Moses, right? But I want to set the tone first. Let's go to I'm going to start at Deuteronomy 31, and I'm just going to read a few verses out of Deuteronomy 31. You don't even have to go there unless you want to. If you want to, you can go. But Deuteronomy 31, and I want to read verse 16. And the Lord said unto Moses, Behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people, Israelites, will rise up and go a whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whether they go to be among them, and will forsake me and break my Mosaic covenant. It says my covenant, but this is the Mosaic covenant. They will break my covenant, which I have made with them. Verse 17. Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, are not these evils come up against us? Because our God is not among us or amongst us. Verse 19. Now, therefore, write ye this song for you, and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. So the Most High gave Moses a song to be a witness against the children of Israel. In other words, the children of Israel had to learn this song to put in their remembrance. We don't want to forsake this covenant, because if we do, all of this stuff is going to happen to us. But as we can tell, it didn't work out. But anyway, Deuteronomy 31 and 22. Moses therefore wrote this song the same day, and taught it to the children of Israel. So the children of Israel was taught this song. Let's keep going. Deuteronomy 31 and 29. For I know that after my death, ye will utterly corrupt yourselves and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you. And listen to this. This is very important. And evil will befall you in the latter days. Once again, it says latter days, right, y'all? Latter days. People want to make the latter days or the last days talking about today in America. I'm going to tell you now that the latter days spoken of in the Bible ended with the Roman Empire or the New Testament. The New Testament was the latter days, and I can prove that later on. But I will show you evil that will befall you in the latter days. So we know Revelation, the book of Revelation, is supposed to be a book about the latter days. So whatever we read in the Song of Moses should be found in Revelation, because Revelation is about the latter days, right? Also, Christ gave a prophecy about the latter days. So anything found in the Moses song, the Song of Moses, should be found in Christ's prophecy about the latter days, correct? Daniel 9, Daniel 7, all latter days prophecy. Isaiah 66, all of those latter days. Ezekiel, Jeremiah, some of those are actually about literal Babylon. That's what people get messed up. But some of those was latter days prophecy. So everything we read from now on in the Song of Moses should be found in those books. So let's read it. Because you would do evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands. And Moses spake in the ears of all the congregation of Israel the words of this song until they were ended. Once again, and Moses spake in the ears of all of the congregation of Israel. So Moses is fin to sing this song to Israel. So, well, thank you, brother. But it's thank you indeed, my brother. Shalom, Mr. Derek, Israel. But it might finna get off a little bit in just a second. Hope you still stay with me, though. Stay with me, and we'll see if we can rock and roll with this. Deuteronomy 32 and 1. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Once again, let me read that again. Deuteronomy 32 and 1. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Deuteronomy 31 and 30. And Moses spake into the ears of all of the congregation of Israel. So, what did Moses refer to the congregation of Israel as? O heavens and earth. Very important. Once again, Moses referred to the children of Israel as heavens with an S and earth. This is Torah. So when you read in the New Testament about heavens and earth and them creating new heavens and a new earth, remember, Christ did not say anything new, anything different from the prophets. So if the heavens and earth in the Torah was Israel, who do you think the heavens and the earth was in the New Testament? Okay. So now we got to quit thinking he's talking about literal heaven, literal earth. We got to read the Bible in order to understand the Bible. So now let's keep going on. Deuteronomy 32, and I'm going to go to 5, and I'm going to skip around, and I'm going to get to the meat. So Deuteronomy 32 and 5. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Remember, Moses is addressing the children of Israel in the latter days. See, he have children of Israel right there in front of him, right there talking. But he's giving them a song that was going to befall upon them the latter days. And the reason why he taught them this song, because they were supposed to teach it to their generation, and the generation after them was supposed to teach it to that generation. So it's supposed to have all of these righteous generations until the time of fulfillment was to come about. So that's why he's telling that generation what to teach the latter generation. So that latter generation was going to be a perverse and crooked generation, not the one sitting right there in front of him. Amen, Brother Alvin. Amen indeed. Amen indeed. So now, let's go to Deuteronomy 32 and 20. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. So once again, this is all about the end. I'm going to see what their end is going to be. This is for the latter days, those children of Israel. The same children of Israel that people want to be about today. No, it's not about the children of Israel today. It's about the children of Israel under the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire is not ruling today, no matter what anybody want to tell you. That was destroyed 476 AD. But let's keep going on. Deuteronomy 32, I'm going to read 21 through 25, and then I'm going to read 29 and 32, 34, 30. It's going to be a lot, so work with me. All right, Deuteronomy, all of this is the Song of Moses. So this is what he sung right here. They have moved me to jealousy. Deuteronomy 32 and 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Verse 22. For a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her incense, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. All of this is going to sound familiar if we know the book of Revelation. So let's keep listening. I will heap mischiefs upon them. I will spend mine arrows upon them. They shall be burnt with hunger and devoured with burning heat. And with bitter destruction, I will send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. Verse 25. The sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. Hopefully we all understand Revelation right now. Verse 29. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, they would have considered their latter end. Once again, this is a latter end. This is an end day thing. So now, Deuteronomy 32:32. I want everybody to listen to this because this is where a lot of us fall off right here. This is where a lot of us fall off. So let's read it. I'm going to read it carefully. Deuteronomy 32:32. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, and the fields and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter. So what did he just call them? What did the Most High have Moses say about the children of Israel in the latter days? He just spiritually called them Sodom and Gomorrah. Think I'm lying? Go back and read Deuteronomy 32:32. He spiritually called them, Israel, in the last days under the Roman Empire, Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's keep going on. Verse 34. Is not this laid up in store with me and sealed up among my treasures? 35. To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. For the Lord shall judge his people and repent himself for his servants when he seeth that their power is gone and there is none shut up or left. The song of Moses was about the Most High's vengeance and recompense against Israel, not the other nations, against Israel. This is things that was going to go to Israel in the latter days. So when you read Revelation, remember what was said to them in the Torah about what was going to occur to them in the latter days. Revelation is the latter days. All right, so now, verse 41, Deuteronomy 32:41. If I wilt my glittering sword in mine hand, take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies and will reward them that hate me. Who did he say his enemies was? His enemies were Israel. The children of Israel was his enemies. Not the other nations, the children of Israel. Right here in Torah. Okay. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, that with the blood of the slain and the captives from the beginning of revenges upon the enemy. Verse 43. Rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants. Once again, rejoice, O ye nations. These are the other nations now. With his people, with Israel, for he will avenge the blood of his servants and will render vengeance to his adversaries and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. You see, a lot of people have dropped out now. Hey, had a nice little crowd. Nice little crowd indeed. But when I started reading Torah, keeping it in context, reading exactly what it says and letting it stand for what it means, now we have people dropping out. Now people don't want to hear this. You know, we all pro-Israel. But now once we read it what the scripture says, totally different story. But now let's keep going on. And Moses came and spake all these words of this song in the ears of the people, he and Hoshea, the son of Nun. So now, let's take this to Revelation now. Revelation chapter 6. Let's see some fulfillment now. Well, let's see a little bit more build up before we see fulfillment. And I'm going to go through this real fast. And I'm actually going to go ahead and relate all of the verses together. So we know what Torah was saying, what Christ was saying, what John the Revelator was saying. I'm going to put it all in together to show you how all of these things had already been fulfilled. All right. Revelation 6:1. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. Revelation 6:2. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Let's go to see where we can find this at in the New Testament under Christ's prophecy. And I'm just going to read so we can understand the foundation of Christ's prophecy. Matthew 24:1. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple. Remember, in Deuteronomy we read that he said the sanctuaries was going to be laid desolate if Israel didn't do what he said. So now, let's see what Christ says. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. So Christ is giving them a prophecy about the destruction of the temple, which first occurred in the Torah, that the sanctuaries was going to be destroyed, as well as in Daniel's 70 weeks about the destruction of the sanctuary was supposed to happen during the time of the end. So all of these are related. These are not separate events. These are the same event. So now, verse 3, and he sat upon the Mount of Olives. The disciples came unto him privately, saying, because the disciples understood, the fourth beast said that Daniel's 70 weeks is supposed to happen during the fourth beast. That's the destruction of the sanctuary. We have the Messiah here. Oh man, what else is supposed to happen? They're supposed to get the Messiah is supposed to get the everlasting kingdom, and the kingdom is supposed to be given to the saints. And all this is supposed to happen during the end of the Mosaic age. So after that, we have the new age, the everlasting kingdom, everything being good and great. So now they had that. Understand where they are coming from. They know the Torah also. So let's understand where they're coming from, and let's see what they said. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the age. Your KJV has world there, but the Greek word is aeon, which means age, which this was actually be the end of the Jewish world, but really is the Greek is age, so end of the Jewish age, or the age of Moses. It's the covenantal age ending. So now, let's see. Verse 4. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians 2:3. We're going to tie all of this in together. Hopefully y'all all got time. Y'all all have a Bible, because I'm pretty sure this is some of the stuff that they leave out because they want you to think that all of these are future events. They want you to keep buying those fringes and keep coming to those feasts, or they haven't studied in order to understand what the Bible teaches. So this, we're going to go through and see what the Bible teaches. So 1 Thessalonians 2:3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there be a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So we got Paul giving the Thessalonians the same warning that Christ was giving his disciples, all under the Roman Empire. So verse 24 and 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Once we go back to Revelation 6 and 2, and I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow. What does white represent? Christ-like. He's Christ-like. He sat on a white horse. He has a bow. He has a crown. He's able to conquer. So this represents what Christ was given. Many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. So we got these people trying to deceive people, saying that they are Christ, and they're able to do all of these things because they are the Messiah. They are the chosen ones. And not only that, these are political people because they are able to go and make wars. So we see this Revelation 24, 5 and 6 being played out in Revelation 6 and 2. But let's go to Deuteronomy 32 and 23. Let's connect some of this stuff in. Deuteronomy 32 and 23. I will heap mischiefs upon them. I will spin mine arrows upon them. What do you need to have arrows? A bow, correct? He's given mischiefs upon them, and he has spent his arrows among them. In verse Revelation 6 and 1, we see somebody having a bow going out to conquer, which is given mischief. And we have in Matthew 24, we have them acting like that they're Christ, creating these wars and rumors of wars. But he said, but the end is not yet. So now, let's hit one of the main ones. Well, let's go back to Revelation 6. And I'm going to go to Revelation, Revelation 6 and 3. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. Verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that said, and I'm going to actually read, I'm just going to read this, but in a minute you'll see why I've skipped. But, and power was given to him that sat thereupon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. So now, let's look at so much. Hold on real fast. Let's look at, I need more hands, as you can tell. I'm trying to hold on to too much stuff, but no, I'm not gonna pull that one just yet. I'm not gonna pull that one just yet. So let's go to Deuteronomy 32 and let's see what it is. 24. Deuteronomy 32 and I think it's 24. I'm going to read 24, then I'm going to read 41. Deuteronomy 32, 25. The sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, and suckling also with the man of gray hairs. Deuteronomy 32 and 41. If I wilt my glittering sword and mine hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies and reward them that hate me. So we have for nation shall rise against nations and kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines and earthquakes and pestilences in diverse places. We're going to hit that in just a second again, but I can't skip over where I'm going with that. So give me 1 second. So Revelation 6 and 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, listen to what this third beast had. Listen to what this third beast had. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Verse 6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Now, where did we just hear that from? Where did we just hear that from? Leviticus 26 and 26. Let's listen to what it says. Leviticus 26 and 26. And when I have broken the staff of your bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven. But listen, and they shall deliver you your bread again by weight. Revelation 6, 5 again. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny." They were being delivered their food by weight. The same thing that was said was going to occur to them for breaking the laws, statutes, and commandments in Leviticus 26. So, once again, they was pulling from the Torah and the Tanakh. That's what Revelation is doing. The time of the end is was doing the fourth beast. But let's keep going on. Let's see. That's Matthew 24 and 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdoms, and there shall be famines. Once again, what was the point of Matthew 24? The destruction of the temple. What is the point of Revelation 6? The destruction of the temple. What is the point of Deuteronomy 32? What was going to befall upon Israel in their latter days, which was the Roman Empire, which was doing the destruction of the temple. Same thing seen in Daniel. But let's keep going on. Verse 7, and when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword and with hunger and with death and with the beast of the earth. So now I can actually do my point about Matthew 24 and 7. This is the same exact thing said in Matthew 27. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Now, let's go back to the Song of Moses. Deuteronomy 32 and, let's see here, where we need to go. 24 and 25. Deuteronomy 32, 24 and 25. Yep. Deuteronomy 32, 24 and 25. They shall be burnt with hunger and devoured with burning heat and with bitter destruction. And I will send the teeth of beasts upon them with the poison of serpents of the dust, the sword without, and terror within. shall destroy both the young man and the virgins, and the suckling also of the man of gray hairs. So once again, we have, I will kill with sword, with hunger, with death, with the beast of the earth. Deuteronomy 32. We got the arrows, we got the hunger, we got the teeth of the beast, we got the sword. Matthew 24. We got the and 7. We got the famines, we got the pestilences, we got the earthquakes. So it's all the same. So let's stop right now and let's just do a recap. What's going on? Let's just do a recap of what's going on. We just saw that Leviticus 26 is the 6 seals being played out in Revelation. So John the Revelator pulled from the Torah in order to explain what was going to befall Israel in the latter days. So we also are connecting the latter days with the Song of Moses, because the Song of Moses also said what was going to befall Israel in the latter days. So after we do that, we connect the Song of Moses, Revelation 6, Leviticus 26 with Matthew 24, because Matthew 24 is Christ's prophecy about what was going to befall Israel in the latter days. But the difference is Christ gives the whole context. This was going to happen during the destruction of the temple. So we have the full story. The latter days was during the 4th beast, which was the Roman Empire, dealing with the 1st century and the destruction of the temple, which is what Revelation is about. So let's keep going. And we hit 6 and 9, Revelation 6 and 9. And when he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. Matthew 24 and 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Matthew 24 deals around the destruction of the temple. Revelation 6, 9 telling them what was going to happen. Now let's look at something important. Revelation 6 and 10. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on earth? First, let's look at Luke 18 and 8. Luke 18 and 8. I would tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Well, I'm going to start at 7, Luke 18, 6 through 8. Luke 18, 6 through 8. Yeah, I said that. And the Lord said, Hear what the unjust judge said. And shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear along with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on earth? So, let's also go to Deuteronomy 32, 41 through 42, back to the Song of Moses. Deuteronomy 32, 41 through 42. If I with my glittering sword and my hand take it, I will render vengeance to mine enemies, and will reward them that hate me. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revenges upon the enemy. So we have that right there. Once again, pull it from the Song of Moses. We're seeing this fulfillment occurring in the 1st century, dealing with the destruction of the temple. That's what the Bible ends. We are in the everlasting kingdom, but let's keep going. Revelation 6 and 11. And white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season until their fellow servants also and their brethren should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. So now, they was going to be avenged when everybody had to be killed that was numbered. And then the vengeance was going to pour out. So now, let's go to, once again, Matthew 24 and 9. And they shall deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. But let's go to Matthew 23 and 34 through 37. Wherefore, behold, now who's been talked to? The Pharisees and the scribes of the first century under the Roman Empire. Christ is inside of the temple, so he's having this dialogue with them. He says, wherefore before I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues and persecute them from city to city, that upon you may come all of the righteous bloodshed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Barachias, whom you slew between the temple and the altar. Verily I say unto you, who's he talking to again? The Pharisees and the scribes. You go to verse 23, woe unto you scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. So he's talking to the Pharisees and scribes in the first century under the Roman Empire. That's who he's talking to. He said that upon you, who you slew between the temple and the altar. Verily I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, that killeth the prophets and stoneth them that are sent unto thee. How often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathered her chickens under her wings, and ye would not? Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. So that vengeance, those saints being avenged, was going to occur during the first century under the Roman Empire, while the house was being left desolate, or the temple being destroyed. The same thing we see in Daniel 70 weeks, that the temple being desolated. That's the desolation. So once that temple was being destroyed, who was inside of the temple? Who was inside of Jerusalem? Those scribes and Pharisees. So those scribes and Pharisees was going to be killed by whom? The fourth beast, as well as, if you read Josephus, you see that in the beginning, Israel, or the southern kingdom, was actually destroying themselves first. And then Rome came in and finished the job. So they was actually being killed amongst themselves, and then the Roman Empire. But anyway, that vengeance was being poured out, and the reason why that vengeance had to be poured out was for those saints that was under the altar to be avenged according to the Torah. So the atonement had to occur for all that bloodshed in that land and them killing all of the prophets. So there had to be an atonement. So let's keep going on, though. And this was prophesied to happen during the destruction of the temple, which was first century, not 2019. No matter what anybody say or do, you're not going to be able to bring the Bible into our timeline. It was finished back then. We're reading history. So let me finish reading this history. Revelation 6 and 12. And I beheld when he opened the sixth seal. What seal is this? The sixth seal. I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Let's go to Matthew 24. All right, so let's catch up in Matthew 24, because we skipped around and we went to Revelation and we went to Deuteronomy 32 dealing with the Song of Moses. So let's come right back to 24 to update on some of these prophetic events that were supposed to occur. Okay. Matthew 24:7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. We see that being fulfilled in Revelation 6:4, 5, and 8, and Deuteronomy 32:24. All these are the beginning of the birth pains, which we see in Revelation 12:2. But let's keep going on. And they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. We saw that in Revelation 6:9, right? And then shall many be offended, and one shall betray another, and shall hate one another. We can see this being played out in also in 2 Thessalonians 2:2. We can see this being alluded to in 2 Thessalonians 2:2. What was going on during the first century? That ye be not 2:1. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or by trouble, neither by spirit, nor by the word, nor by letter for us, that the day of Christ is at hand. And many shall be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. So that betraying to me was them actually falsifying the prophecy, saying that the day of the Lord was at hand then. Because in 2 Thessalonians, which was about 20 so years or 10 to 20 years before the destruction of the temple, Christ told them that the destruction of the temple was going to show the displaying of the Song of Moses, or the prophecy about his second coming. They were like 15 to 20 years before the destruction of the temple, saying that it already had occurred. And it seemed like people was forging the letters of Paul and all them, saying that this is what Paul then was teaching. So that's actually what was going on in Thessalonians. They were being taught that the day of the Lord was at hand and Christ was already getting ready to come back, and that stuff at 50 AD or 60 AD. I think it was 50 AD. But anyway, if that's the case, the Messiah, Christ could not have been the Messiah, because the way he prophesied, saying that this was going to happen during the destruction of the temple, and it didn't. It happened before the destruction of the temple. That means he wasn't the Messiah, making those who believe in Christ fall from the faith. That's what was going on in 2 Thessalonians. It has nothing to do with 2019. But and many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. We're on Matthew 24:11. We can find that in Acts. Hold on, let's see here. I'm just giving y'all context of where y'all can find the fulfillment of some of these things, because people are looking for all this to be fulfilled today, in today's time. And I'm telling you that all of these things has been fulfilled in the Bible's time, in the first century, under the Roman Empire, the real biblical Roman Empire. Not no Roman Catholic Church. I'm talking about the real Roman Empire that had Caesars and all that stuff. So now, let's go to, I missed my page. Sorry, y'all. As y'all can tell, I got a lot going on here, running back and forth. So let's go to Acts 5:37. After this man rose up Judas of Galilee. Well, I can start at 36. For before these days rose up Theodas, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who was slain, and all, as many as obeyed him, were scattered and brought to naught. After this man rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of the taxing, and drew away much people after him. He also perished, and all, even as many as obeyed him, were dispersed. So we have the false prophets arising then. Verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So can we go to 2 Thessalonians 2:7, just to look at another allusion of this. 2 Thessalonians 2:7. 2 Thessalonians 2:7 says, I'm going to start at 6 and 7. And now you know that withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So now we have, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. We have that mystery of iniquity right there. Okay, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Let's see here. And that will be Revelation 12 and 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength of the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. We have that salvation happening when the accuser was cast down. And that happened during the end. So he shall that endure to the end shall be saved. Verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all of the world for a witness unto all nations, then shall the end come. Colossians 1:23. And I'm sorry, y'all. I know it's taking a long time, but we got to break some of this stuff down. Some of this stuff got to be broke down in order to understand exactly what the Bible is teaching. Let me get there real fast. Colossians 1:23 says, if ye can grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, wherefore I, Paul, am made a minister. So we have every creature under heaven, not literal creatures, y'all, getting the gospel. So we have the gospel of the kingdom preached into all of the world, according to Paul, in the first century under the Roman Empire. That's another fulfillment. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee to the mountains. We have another rendering of that verse, which is Luke 21 and 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. So we have the abomination of desolation in Matthew 24. Luke, having the same account, says it's the armies that cause desolation, which is who? The Roman armies under the first century. So, let's see. And then we have Revelation 12 and 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. So we have that fleeing right there. Verse 17. Let him, Matthew 24:17. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of the house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. Let's go to Luke 17:31. And y'all can go back and relook at this just to see. Luke 17 and 31. I'm going to start at 30. I'm going to start at 29. But the same day that Lot went out of the Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. This is when Christ is going to be revealed. What's going to happen? In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away, and he that is in the field, let him not likewise not return back. So, Matthew 24, neither let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return to take back his clothes. Why? This is the days that the Son of Man was being revealed. When did this happen? In the first century. What are they? What's going on? The Roman army has compassed Jerusalem, getting ready to destroy Jerusalem and the sanctuaries, according to what? Leviticus 26. So now, we're about done. Verse 19, and woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Why? Because the Roman army is getting ready to come in and to destroy the remnant of Israel that the people inside of Israel have not destroyed. Don't forget, it's a war going on inside of Israel as well as the Roman army on the outside of Israel. Verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. So we got Revelation 6 and 11, and white robes were given unto them, every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. So this is the time, this is during the tribulation period when this killing is occurring, this persecution, this the food supply being cut off. This is when the Song of Moses is being displayed. But we're going to go through that in just a second. Revelation 12, 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. We're seeing some wars in heaven going on. Don't forget though, you're reading the vision. So 12 through 17. Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman, which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, times and a half, from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as of a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. We see this flood talked about in Daniel 70 weeks, which is that army coming to destroy. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed up the flood with the dragon that cast out of the woman. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So this is the great tribulation period. This is the tribulation spoken of in Matthew 24. Revelation 12 is just a vision behind it. Verse 22. And except those days be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So you go to Revelation 6 and 11 again, we know that they had to be killed, right? Before the end occurred. But let's see what else goes on. Revelation 12 and 12 again. Revelation 12 and 12 says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Those shortened days was the short days that the devil, aka the Israelites, had before the end came. Verse 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets that shall show great signs and wonder, insomuch, if it was possible, they should deceive the very elect. We already read that in Acts, right? Behold, I have told you this before. Verse 26. Wherefore, if they say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Let me see what I got first. Now give me 1 second. I got to look at something for that. Uh, I had all these things. All right. I don't know why I got that. I got Second Thessalonians 2:8, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, which is what the gospel, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. But I want everybody to understand what it says. For as lightning coming out of the east and shineth into the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So now, if I was a first century disciple listening to Christ say this, he would tell me he will be in the land of Jerusalem, right? Or they right now on the Mount of Olives. He said, as lightning coming out of the east and shining into the west, so shall the Son of Man be. Would I think that the entire world saw that lightning, or would I think everybody inside of Jerusalem saw that lightning that he's describing? I'm going to ask again. If I was a disciple in the first century, or if you are a disciple in the first century, and Christ tells you that his coming is going to be like lightning coming from the east to the west, would you think that the whole entire planet saw that lightning, or just the people in Jerusalem saw that lightning? I'll let that park in your mind for right now. Verse Matthew 24:28. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered also. Revelation, what's that? Revelation 19. Once again, Matthew 24 is about the destruction of the temple and the Roman Empire coming to encompass them and finish the vengeance of the Most High, which Israel started upon themselves. So, Matthew 24, for whatsoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered also. Revelation 19:17 through 18. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of all them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free, bond, both small and great. Why? Why? Because wherever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered also. This is all about the destruction of the temple in the Roman War. I will go through. I'm actually. Did I just read from Revelation 19 just then? I think I just did. I read Revelation 19 and 17 and 18. But I'm not going to go through it again. But I just read Revelations 19, 17, and 18, which is Matthew 24 and 28. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. So now, Matthew 24 and 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, see, this is why I wanted to get here. That's why I had to go all the way through this to bring us back to where we are in Revelation. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, right? What's happening in the tribulation of those days? Well, we have the war inside of Jerusalem going on, and we have the Roman army on the outside of Jerusalem surrounding it, getting ready to siege it. The Roman army has cut off all of the water supply and all of the food supply. Meanwhile, the people inside of Jerusalem, those zealots and all of those scribes and all of those people that wanted to go against the Roman army, they had burned up all of the food inside of Jerusalem, as well as destroyed all of the water supply. So now the people, the Israelites or the Jews inside of Jerusalem destroyed the food supply and the water supply, and Rome outside of Jerusalem cut off the food supply and the water supply. What did he say in the Song of Moses? I will get you with famines. I will get you with the beast. I will get you with the sword. All of this stuff we're seeing being played out. So now, those are the tribulation of those days. So let's see what happened. Matthew 24 and 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give off her light. The stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. We see that same thing, which is what the sixth seal, what we read in Revelation 6, 12 and 13. And I beheld when he opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So we have the sixth seal being displayed here in Matthew 24 and 29. We can also find it in Joel 2. You can actually find all of this stuff in Joel 2, actually. I mean, Joel 1, 2. But let's just go here real fast. Joel 2 and Joel 2 and 31. I'm starting at 30 and 31. I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. This is the Moses. This is the song of Moses right here. Verse 31. And the sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. So once again, we have the sixth seal being alluded to right there. And once you go into, what is it, Acts, what is that? Acts 2:17. Once you go into Acts 2:17, it says, and it was said, and it shall come to pass in the last days, said God, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Right? And then verse 19, and I will show wonders in heaven above and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of all smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and notable day of the Lord. So this was Joel's prophecy being fulfilled in Acts. But in Acts 17, it says in the last days. So this prophecy was fulfilled in the first century under the Roman Empire, which the disciples called the last days. So the last days is not 2,000 years later, when the last days was 2,000 years ago. So now, let's keep going on. This is Revelation, the sixth seal. All right, so let's keep going on. Matthew 24 and 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all of the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Right? So now let's go to, let's see what all I can go to. Revelation 1 and 7. Revelation 1 and 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. So, Zechariah 12 and 10. Zechariah 12 and 10. And remember, Matthew 24 is dealing with the destruction of the temple and the wars going inside and outside of Jerusalem, right? So this is the first century. So we cannot put Matthew 24 in our time when it's specifically talking about a timeline back then. So Zechariah 12 and 10. And I will pour upon the house of David. So now it's given, we know in Revelation, Matthew, it says all tribes of the earth and all eyes will see. Well, sometimes you got to go back to the original source to actually see where they're pulling from to understand what they're talking about. So now, and I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem. So we have Jerusalem right here. We got the house of David, which will be what, this is pretty much Judah, who was in Jerusalem in the first century. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. What do they all call themselves? Well, they say, English is Jews, but I think they call themselves like Yehuda, or something like that. But anyway, this is talking about the Jews. So the house of David, and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the spirit of grace and of supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. Who is they? The house of David. And they shall mourn for him. Who was they? The house of David. As one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in wilderness for him as one is in wilderness for his firstborn. And that day shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as in the morning of Hegemon in the valley of Megadon, which will be Armageddon. And the land shall mourn, every family apart, the family of the house of David. And he goes through saying each family, which was dealing with the ones that was in Jerusalem in the first century. So this is where that prophecy was actually pulled from in the Tanakh. So let's keep going on. Verse 31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. All right, so now we have let's see what I got there. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15:52. 1 Corinthians 15 and 52. And first of all, before I even go there, I want to tell everybody what's going on also. We have a sound of a trumpet, right? Correct. So we know that this has something to do with trumpets. So where can we find something about trumpets in the Torah? Well, we actually have a feast of trumpets. And that's going to be very, very important in just a second. But we have, that's why, don't forget, Christ was a Jew. The disciples was a Jew. They knew Torah. They knew the Song of Moses. So all of that plays very much into understanding the prophecies of Matthew 24 and Revelation 6. So now, 1 Corinthians 15:52 says, in a moment, I'm going to start at 51. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. To me, that's saying, which I'm pretty sure that's what it is, we shall not all sleep as in go down to Sheol, but we shall all be changed. Now, what does that mean? If you go throughout the scripture, especially in Ezekiel and all that stuff, I don't have to exegete any passage, my brother. I can teach how I want to teach, and I don't have a theology or all that stuff. I'm saying what the Bible says. And let me I'm just going to get off real fast, and I'm gonna come right back on. So for the people out there, Christ was speaking things in front of him. He was speaking to an audience in front of him. Christ wasn't worried about no exegesis. He wasn't worried about no theology. He wasn't doing none of that. Christ was speaking to individuals about things they would relate to. Christ was talking to them using the Tanakh and the Torah. He wasn't going in there trying to find out, well, this word is in this pretense, or this word is in this tense 2,000 years ago, so this means this, and that. No. He was telling the disciples what they need to look for. Therefore, I'm going to teach what he told the disciples. Now, you can go with the theology and the exegete, this, and that, to make yourself feel better and to make yourself not be comfortable that Christ has already returned. You can do that all you want to. That's your prerogative. But I'm going to teach the Bible, how the Most High inspired me. So, deuces to that. So now, 1 Corinthians 15 and 51 and 52. Behold, I will show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. So if we remember, hold on, let me see here. Before I go there, hold on. And when y'all get done, y'all just can relook at this and go through it yourself. And it all makes sense. So let's Leviticus 23:24. Speaking to the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 5th day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a memorial, blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. So we're seeing that this memorial blowing of the trumpet, a holy convocation, which was a feast day, we're seeing it being fulfilled. This is what Paul is talking about. He's talking about the fulfillment of this feast day. The same thing Christ is talking about in Matthew 24, which is the fulfillment of the feast day. The feast day was just a shadow. So now we're going through the fulfillment of the feast days, while the Most High had this feast day appointed on his calendar. and why he wanted it taught to the Israelites. So during this feast days, when it said we will not all sleep, but we will all change. If y'all remember, throughout the Tanakh, what was going on? We had him talking to the prophets. He was taking them up to heaven. They had on filthy garments, and he had to change their garments into the white robes and to give them something more pure, what represented the saints, which represented him. So that all change, we will all change. This is a covenantal change. We will all change, meaning we will all pull off our filthy garments, which we was not perfect under that Mosaic covenant. During this time of restoration, during this time of the trumpets being blown in heaven, we will all enter into the new covenant, and our garments will be changed from dirty to clean, from filthy to white. This is that change that they all was going through. See, they all wasn't going to die and go to Sheol. No, some of them was going to be alive doing this. But the point is, some of them was going to be alive, some of them was not going to be. But regardless if they was going to be alive or not, everybody was going to have to change over into the new covenant. Everybody that inherited the kingdom of heaven was going to have to be changed over into the new covenant. So this is that change that happens. And what? It happened at the last trump during the destruction of the temple, which is what we're seeing in Revelation 20 when they're being judged. We have the people of the old covenant coming into the new covenant, and we have people of the old covenant not entering into the new covenant, being taken away from the Most High. So let's keep going. Oh no, I think there's something else I can pull. Let's see. Revelation 19:11 through 15, maybe. Revelation 19:11 through 15. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and righteous, and doth judge and make war. This is what we see in Matthew 16:27 and 28, when he told them that some of them was going to be alive when he came back to reward every man according to their works. So this is the judgment and making war right here. This is the fulfillment of Matthew 16:27 and 28. The point is, in Matthew 28, he told the disciples this was going to occur while some of them were still alive, which is the first century. All right, so now his eyes were a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, which means the gospel has been spreaded through all the nations already. And that's why, he said to go out and teach the gospel to the nations. So he is conquering all nations through the gospel. And he had a name written that no man knew but him himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and on his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out his mouth goes a sharp sword, which was what? The gospel. That with it he should smite the nations, and he should rule them with a rod of iron. And he treaded the winepress and the fierceness and the wrath of the Almighty God. What is this winepress being treaded? These are the evil Israelites, right? Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of the Romans got killed also during this siege. In fact, the Israelites shocked the Romans. The Romans thought the Israelites was just going to be some pushovers. Y'all need to read Josephus, but the Israelites gave Rome a run for their money a majority of the battle. In fact, they said Titus said he know the only way he was able to take the city was through the vine, through help of the Most High. So, but this wine press is being trodden is the Israelites, those in the Mosaic covenant who had that vengeance come upon them for killing the prophets and all that stuff. So this wine press was them. It's not the other nations. And this wine press actually represents the atonement. The land is being atoned for. All of the atonement, the nation is being atoned for, and the land is being atoned for. So this is that wine press happening, which was what? The Feast of Atonement. the fulfillment of the Feast of Atonement. Once again, the Most High had these feasts from the beginning to show how the time of the end was going to come about. So not only does Revelation show the time of the end happening in 70 AD, it also shows the fulfillment of the Song of Moses, and it also shows the fulfillment of the feast days, all together in one. Also shows the fulfillment of the old covenant and the bringing in of the new covenant. Verse 16, and he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All right. So now, I think we can do good with that. Let's see, I got Isaiah 27:13, just in case. And I don't usually go through all of the scriptures like this, but it was time. And I'm just going to read this, Isaiah 27, and I'm going to read 1 and 13. And in that day, the Lord, with his sword and great sword, shall punish the Leviathan and piercing serpent. Once you look at the beast in Revelation, you see a dragon, and then you see a beast come from the sea. So you have the piercing serpent and the Leviathan right there in Revelation. But anyway, verse 13. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts of the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mountain of Jerusalem. So we have this this prophecy in Matthew 24 being alluded to what Isaiah the prophet said. Once again, Christ never said nothing new. He pulled from the Torah and the Tanakh. So let's keep going on. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know the summer is nigh. So likewise, when ye shall see all of these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. So, just like a fig tree, and I like how in Revelation 6, I love how in Revelation 6, verse 13, we see another parable or another proverbs dealing with a fig tree, like a fig casts her untimely fig, and now here we see a fig tree talking about the branches. But what's so good about this? It doesn't take once you start seeing the branch start putting forth leaves, you know summer is coming quickly. Not 2,000 years, but you know summer is coming quickly. Once again, Christ, Most High, they use all things in earth to explain Bible stuff. So to explain how those signs was going to work, he gave them something in nature. He could have gave them something that took a long time, but he didn't. He gave them something that took short times. Once you see the leaves coming, you know summer is nigh. What's the sign of summer is getting close? The leaves on the fig tree coming about. All right, now I'm about done. So likewise, ye, when you see all of these things knocking at the door, let's see here, and I can go to, I know I've been pulling scriptures like crazy, ain't I? I've been pulling scriptures like crazy, but sometimes you got to in order to teach the whole Bible. Proverbs 13 and 12. Hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. In other words, if you want something to occur and it never happens, or it takes a long time for it to happen, it makes your heart sick. It make you lose hope. But when the desire cometh, when it occurs, it is a tree of life, the real tree of life. When those promises was fulfilled in the first century, that was the real tree of life. Everybody was waiting on this new covenant to come under the Messiah. So when it occurred, the tree of life came about. So now, I'm going to read two more verses. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. So once you go to Matthew 24 and you go over everything I just read, it is said that that generation, first century generation under the Roman Empire, will not pass away until the feast, until all of the biblical feasts, which it was only three feasts, four feasts that had to be fulfilled. During Christ's time, during his death and his resurrection, after the resurrection, the fall feast had to be fulfilled, including the 8th day feast. So, all of that had to be fulfilled. So we got the feast days had to be fulfilled. We have the Song of Moses had to be fulfilled. We had the old covenant leaving, the new covenant coming in had to be fulfilled. The destruction of the temple had to be fulfilled. The gathering of the saints had to be fulfilled. Christ coming back had to be fulfilled. The abomination of desolation had to be fulfilled. And the gospel being preached to all of the world had to be fulfilled by that generation, which was the first century generation under the Roman Empire, which actually Daniel 9 agrees with, Daniel 7 agrees with, as well as the Song of Moses. But now, verse 35, heaven and earth shall pass away. We read in Deuteronomy 32 what this heaven and earth was. But my word shall not pass away. Verse 34, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. And I can pull from Zechariah 14:1. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thou spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. This is the same thing talked about. But now, of that day knoweth no man. Right? So let's see here. I'm just going to read something for y'all. I'm going to read something for y'all real fast. Let's see if my computer will pull it up. It's been running slow all day. All righty. Here we go right here. It finally came up. I thought it did. We got, here we go right here. It's under the it's on Grace Through Faith website, right? And I'm just going to read it to you. The Feast of Trumpets and the second coming. He also said Jesus was referring to the feast. He said we could not know the day or the hour. That Jesus did not say we can know the time, which is true. All right, let me read it slowly for we all can go through it. It says, he also said that Jesus was referring to this feast when he said we cannot know the day and hour. That Jesus did not say we can know the time, just the day and hour. True, that's what Christ said. He gave them the generation. He just didn't give them the exact day and hour. Exactly. What is the Feast of Trumpets? And could this relate to the time of the rapture? Which there is no rapture. The Bible doesn't teach rapture. I'm just getting the background information. The Feast of Trumpets was sometime called the Feast of the Unknown Day and Hour. Okay. Let me read this again. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels in heaven, but my Father only. So what did Christ just allude to? He just alluded to the Feast of Trumpets. The same thing he did in verse 31, the great sound of a trumpet. Then we have the Feast of Ingathering. Well, we'll go through the feast in just a second. But just know that he's alluding more to the feast days. These are Jews. These are Hebrews. So they would have understood what he was saying, which this will be the fulfillment of the Feast of Trumpets. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go through that. We're going to go through the Feast of Trumpets, and this will be the fulfillment of the Feast of Trumpets. So him saying no man knows the day or the hour, he was alluding more to the feast days instead of saying that no one knows the particular day or the hour. He was alluding to the feast days. But no man knows the day or the hour then. He said that in around 30 AD. He was prophesying about an event that was going to occur in 70 AD. So at that point in time, no one at that time, that conversation, knew the day or the hour. But we are reading it 2,000 years later. So we can read the event that Christ said was going to occur. And we know that it occurred 70 AD through history. This was their future. 70 AD had not occurred yet. That's why they didn't know the day or the hour, but we could know the day. It was their future, our history, our past. So that's the problem. That's the point. So when people say you can't know the day or the hour where Christ came, yes, all you got to do is follow the scriptures. Go through the scriptures and believe them. All right, now, let's keep going. And the Feast of Trumpets was sometimes called the Feast of the Unknown Day and Hour, because unlike other feasts, it began at the time of the new moon on the first day of the month, known as Tishri. Around the time of the beginning of each month, 2 witnesses were sent out to determine the first sighting of the crescent moon. How many witnesses was in Revelation? How many witnesses was in Revelation? 2 witnesses. 2 witnesses was in Revelation that was killed, right? How many witnesses had to go out to witness the Feast of Trumpets? 2. This is covenantal feast day language. This is not American literal language. These are Hebrews, Israelites in the Eastern world that practice these customs the appropriate way in their land, so they would have understood this dialogue. Not us. That's why we're so confused today. And then, unless we do that research, we're going to stay confused. But now, until this could be confirmed, no one knew whether the new month has actually arrived. So the Feast of Trumpets came on a day and hour no one could know in advance. It is also called Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, and marked the beginning of the 10 days of intense spiritual preparation for the Day of Atonement. And I believe in Revelation, that's why he said they will lock you up for 10 days, or they will imprison you for 10 days. I believe there was another allusion between the Day of Atonement and the trumpets. So, let me finish in Revelation 6 and I'll be done. Revelation 6:14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it was rolled together, and every mountain and island was moved out of their place. Because people think that's about a nuclear bomb, which it's not. Isaiah 34:4. And all of the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heaven shall be rolled together as a scroll. And all of the hosts shall fall down, and as the leaf falleth from the vine, and falleth from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. Why Idumea? Because the Idumeans also was inside of Jerusalem. And they helped start some of that ruckus that was going on inside of Jerusalem, according to Josephus. And upon the people of my curse to judgment. So now we see that this is more about war. This is more about war and destruction than about a nuclear bomb. This is all about war, destruction, the judgment according to the Moses' song. So now, verse 15, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondsman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks. So we know that what happened with this, These are actually the bodies in Revelation, later on in Revelation, that the fowls were supposed to go eat. So, Revelations 2 and 11, just in case. 2 and 11. And the Lord shall utter his great voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong and executed his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide in it? So we see that this is happening. He's calling his army together to kill these individuals that's trying to go hide themselves into the dens, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. So we can go to Luke 23 and 30. Luke 23 and 30. Luke 23 and 30 says, no, that's not it, is it? It says, and I'll appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father has appointed unto me, that ye may drink and eat at my table in my kingdom, and sit on the thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So this was actually doing that judgment. That judgment, them judging Israel, was through the gospel. So I'm not quite sure why I had that there, but I guess I can go to Hosea 10 and 8. But no, it was something in the New Testament. But let me go to Hosea 10 and 8 real fast. Hosea 10 and 8 says, and y'all, some in the New Testament, so I'm about to find that. But this is the prophets. I mean the Tanakh. Hosea 10 and 8. The high places also of Avon, the sin of Israel, shall be destroyed. The thorn and the thistle shall come up upon their altars, and they shall say to the mountains, cover us, and to the hills, fall on us. So we have this being prophesied, what Israel was going to say. And this is what they're alluding to. And then we can go to, let's see here. Hold on, y'all. I'm about there. Let's see here. Psalms 110 and 5. The Lord at thy right hand shall strike through the kings in the day of his wrath. And I can read 6. He shall judge among the heathens. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. He shall drink in the brook of the way thereof shall he lift up thy head. So we see that the heathens and all nations, once again, were being destroyed also, because they was coming with the Roman army. Rome had to do all kingdoms. So when all of the nations were supposed to come against Israel, that was the Roman army, because the Roman army had all nations of the habitable world. They wasn't worried about this Western world over here. Nothing in the Bible was worried about this Western world, except the everlasting kingdom, which is for everybody. But they were coming against Israel. So this is what's going on. But I want to, hold on, give me 1 second, because this is somewhere. I can pull 1 Corinthians 2, 6, and 7 while I'm waiting. 1 Corinthians 2, 6, and 7. First Corinthians 2, 6, and 7. Just see what it says. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of the world, nor the princes of the world that come to naught. But if we speak the wisdom of God in the mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which God ordained before the world and to our glory. And that, what was that hidden, to me, that hidden mystery was this destruction, this wrath, and the new covenant coming about with the Christians. But it's somewhere. Well, we know Matthew 24 and 30, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all of the tribes of the earth mourn, which this will be the people in Jerusalem, not the entire planet. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So these people that are seeing him, if you want to take it literal, would be the captains and the mighty men and the bondsmen and the free men. Just saying, hide us from the face of the wrath of the Lamb. Sorry. Hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. So we have a coming, and they are running. Oh, I was right. Luke 23:30. I might have read the wrong one. Luke 23:30. Oh, I did read the wrong one. So Matthew, let me go back there. Sorry. Revelation 6:16 and 17, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Luke 23, I want to start at 28. But Jesus turning unto them said, well, I'm going to start at 27, because this is during the crucifixion of Christ, or finna be the crucifixion of Christ. And there followed with him a great company of people and of the women, which also bewailed and lamented him. But Jesus turned unto them, said, daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, once again, who he's talking to? The daughters of Jerusalem. For behold, the days are coming in which they shall say, blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bare, and the paps which never gave suck. Then they shall begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. For if they do these things in the green tree, what shall be done in the dry? So what Christ just do? Christ just prophesied to the daughters of Jerusalem that the days were coming, that they was going to say to the hills, fall on us. And why? Because Jerusalem was finna be sacked by the Roman Empire. Verse 21, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? For the great day of his wrath is come. This is the song of Moses all day, right? Deuteronomy 32, right? The song of Moses all day. Deuteronomy 32, which is in the Torah. Deuteronomy 32 and I'm going to put 40 and 41. I'm going to start at 39 and go to 41. See not that I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. If I with my glittering sword and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies and reward them that hate me. This is that wrath that was coming. Matthew 24:31. Matthew 24 and 31. This actually happens during the gathering of the elect also. Luke 21:22. I'm just go ahead and pull it. I had some in my mind. I guess I forgot. Luke 21:22, and we can conclude this thing. Luke 21:22 says, oh yeah, I know what I was going to pull. All right, I want to set the tone about what I'm going to read real fast. I think it's in Luke 10 though, but I don't want to go through it and look hard for it, even though I might as well, right? We done made it this far. No, that's not it. All right, before I go there, give me 1 second. Of course, my computer is messing up. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Luke 19:43. Luke 19:43 says, I'm going to start at 41. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it. So this is Christ weeping over the city. And let's see why. Saying, if thou hast known, even thou at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace. But now they are hid from thy eyes. For the day shall come upon thee, that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee, encompass thee round, and keep thee in on every side, and shall lay even with the ground, and thy children with thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. What is going on right there? Christ just was crying because he understood that the time was coming when the people of Israel was going to be encompassed by the Roman army, and the Roman army was going to destroy the temple, and it was going to be a lot of death and suffering. That's why Christ was crying. He lamented over the people. That's why he told the women, weep not for me, weep for yourselves, because the time is coming when y'all are going to tell the hills, fall on us. And Revelation 6 says, when they tell the hill, fall on us, this is occurring with the wrath of the Lamb coming about, or the wrath of God, which is the fulfillment of the songs of Moses in Deuteronomy 32. So now, Luke 21 and just to show you, Luke 21:16. As for these things which you behold, the days will come in which there shall not be left one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down. So we see Christ talking about that. This is dealing with the armies, the Roman armies surrounding Jerusalem. Luke 21:20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. Luke 21:22 seals the deal for everybody. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. What was written when Christ said that? The Torah and the Tanakh. So the feast days were to be fulfilled at that time. Not only the feast days, the Song of Moses, which was to be fulfilled at that time. Not only the Song of Moses, Isaiah 66, dealing with the new heavens and the new earth, was to be fulfilled at that time. All things, Isaiah 66, all things about vengeance was to be fulfilled at that time. So all things of the Torah and the Tanakh was to be fulfilled during the destruction of the temple, 70 AD, first century, under the Roman Empire. The book of Revelation is just a vision behind the fulfillment of all things. I can close the Bible now. It has been 2 hours and 20 minutes. Hopefully everyone was edified. We went through the Torah. We went through the Tanakh. We went through the New Testament. We referenced a lot of verses to see what the Bible was saying. Matthew 24, Christ was doing a lot of alluding to the feast days. The Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Atonement, the Feast of Trumpets, and the Eighth Day Feast. Christ was alluding to it, as well as the Song of Moses. In fact, Matthew 25 is just the Song of Moses in Deuteronomy 32. That's all it is. Revelation 6 is just the Song of Moses. So they all was using the Torah and the Tanakh. So what conclusion can be drawn from everything I brought out? The time of the end ended the Bible. And the time of the end was in the first century. Everything ended in 70 AD. After 70 AD, everybody was changed over into the new covenant. We're in the new covenant now. The kingdom of heaven is amongst us upon earth if we bring it out. If we follow those that commandments, those commandments of loving. If we love the Father, we love our neighbors, we're automatically doing the will of the Most High in our hearts already. It's already that Torah will be written in our hearts. Those instructions will be written in our heart. Only thing we have to do, we have to be reborn as of water and spirit. You got to go in that through the water baptism, raise up in the death of Christ for the remission of sins. You got to be baptized in the remission of sins. You go preach the gospel. Tell everybody how everything has been fulfilled and how we have a Father that does what He say He was going to do, and that we can come together and build the community that we need to build, and we can display that kingdom of heaven because it's within us. I mean, you can do all of that stuff, all of the freedom that you have, knowing that there's nothing carnal that you can do in order to get to the kingdom of heaven. No more. You don't have to worry about the fringes. You don't have to worry about the feast days. You don't have to worry about none of that stuff. Enjoy the new covenant. Everything has been fulfilled. Nobody's coming out of the sky to save you. Christ is coming, second coming. He came just like His Father did. If you go into the Tanakh, when the Most High came and He rode clouds and stuff, He was using different nations that come and to destroy people. So Christ did what His Father did. When Christ said He was coming in the form of judgment under the Roman army, which is the fourth beast. That's why in Daniel 7, you have the fourth beast, and during the fourth beast, you have the everlasting kingdom given over to the Son of Man and the saints. That coming was judgment. Okay, y'all? It wasn't a literal Him popping out the sky. When He said, everyone shall see me in the land of me they pierced, everyone was able to see that Roman army who represented the glory of the Father, who represented the prophecy being fulfilled, who represented judgment, the judgment of Christ. Everybody in Jerusalem was able to see that Roman army. So when they looked upon that Roman army, it's like them looking upon the person they pierced, which was Christ. I mean, once you read the Bible and understand the Hebrew mindset, I mean, it will all make sense, y'all. And I'm not just rattling stuff off, y'all. I mean, y'all look. I got my charts. As y'all can tell, I got my information and stuff. That's just on one side. I don't want y'all to see how messed up my room is. But there's stuff over there. Them are books and everything, y'all. We study here. And that's why I take the real full preterists, because they study also. And so, I mean, people can say, what about this? What about that? Why we still have sin? Why this, and that? The Bible was worried about covenant people, okay? It was worried about the true worshipers of the Father through the gospel, which is through Christ. The true worshipers. So if you are a true worshiper, you will not have no sin in you, okay? You will not do those things of the world because you are a king. You are a priest. You are a spiritual person. See, people want to talk down on the Christian church because Christian church teaches love, this and that. Now, they have paganism in them. It's true. That's not the Most High's doing. That's not Christ doing. That's what happened when man intervenes into something glorious. Same thing happened during the Mosaic covenant. You see how they got off, how the Israelites got off with that. Do some history of Israel and see all of the stuff. They was sacrificing their babies. They was doing all this worship stuff too. They was enhancing all these other gods. They had things going on inside of the temple, on the outskirts of the temple, on the inside of it, but not in the holies of holies. But they still had some idol worship going on. Look what you remember when Christ went through and showed, who was it, Ezekiel? I forgot who he went and showed dealing with the chambers of imagery and stuff, but he showed all of the things that the Israelites was doing back then. All of the priests was doing back then. They was worshiping stones and wood back then, even though they was under the Mosaic covenant. So, no, evil and stuff is not supposed to work in this world, not supposed to stop in this world, because this whole world is not in the new covenant. You're supposed to be in the new covenant, and you're supposed to get other people in the new covenant. And if we get everybody in the new covenant, then we will see the kingdom of heaven being displayed. But guess what? It's an everlasting kingdom. The Most High, Christ, they have forever to wait. So we can get one person into the new covenant or into the kingdom, one person a year, one person every 5 years. It doesn't matter. The kingdom never stops expanding, and it never stops. The only thing I see is a lot of people coming through, and they're trying to take the Bible and the freedom away from you and tell you that you're under bondage and you're under the Mosaic covenant again. And that's the thing that's going on with the Bible right now. And that's why we're seeing a lot of this. I think this is why we're seeing a lot of this wrath coming upon the earth, especially the United States. The United States is in a frenzy right now because we have the United States being the ones pushing on a global level the Hebrew Israelites, my brothers, nationally, but spiritually, we got two different fathers. The Hebrew Israelites are going through teaching people that they're in the Mosaic covenant, and imagine what that does to the Father. Imagine what kind of wrath that can bring when we know that we're in the new covenant, and you're telling people they're in the old covenant, and you're telling people that Christ he only came to do away with the sacrificial law, but everything else you need to do deals with the Mosaic covenant. And Moses said, listen to that prophet that came after me. Christ never said I come to do away with the sacrificial system. Christ never said that. So why are we putting words in Christ's mouth? And that's what I'm saying. And then we look at the book of Hebrews, which is dedicated to the priest. It's not a doctrine of Israel. It's dedicated to the priest about what Christ did in order to stop their service in the temple. I mean, but it's crazy. So we got to wake up, get out of this mindset. Quit letting these people, these theologians, try to tell you you got to exegete this and do this and that and say this better with vernacular and this. No, follow Christ, follow the Bible. Don't let them take the Bible from you. They try to, and then we got some people living in America and that lives during my timeline, my time era, trying to say what is or what is not correct from 2,000 years ago. How can you say don't trust the Greek words? Don't trust the New Testament. It was written in Greek. So you're gonna put your salvation on a language. But at the same time, you actually went under the Greek captivity, just like Daniel stated. And Israel actually went under the Roman captivity, just like Daniel stated. But we don't need to know anything that Israel did inside those captivities. So you're going to put your salvation based upon the Babylonian Empire and the Medo-Persian Empire, and whatever works came from them, that's going to get you salvation. See, the Babylonian Empire and the Medo-Persian Empire, that's still not the whole complete thing, because the old covenant still lasted throughout the Greek and the Roman Empire. It ended in the Roman Empire. So the whole thing is off. None of it really makes sense. And people are trying to put other people into bondage mentally. And maybe that wrath that we're seeing is because the Most High is trying to wake us up. Slavery was a mechanism that we use in order to wake up to our true nationality, which was the Israelites. Okay, you know who you are now. What do you do with that information? You don't turn a doctrine using slavery and curses. Nobody in the Bible used slavery and curses as a doctrine. It was a consequence of you not doing what the doctrine told you to do. If you don't follow the doctrine of the Most High, then you have these curses. So you don't start off with curses telling people how more they're cursed and how they're going to be cursed until Christ come back. And the Bible teaches you that Christ has already returned. Therefore, the curses is going to stick on you forever. And then they try to give you reasons why you're not in the new covenant, or why one day you ain't going to be cursed. I haven't seen Ezekiel plays that. Where did the whole world see him? All that nonsense, because they haven't taken the time to read and understand and to study the Bible. So then what do? What do they do next? Then they want to insult you. And that's not the spirit of Christ. That's not the spirit of the Most High. They want to do violence to you. They want to slap you. They want to fight you. They want to do everything they want to do. They want to do everything negative, and thinks the Bible backs it up. They want to use the Bible as a mechanism of hate, and the Bible will never back up any mechanism of hate. That's why we need to come right back, study this Bible, enter back into the new covenant, understand everything has been fulfilled as the Bible teaches, and we just push this kingdom and enjoy. I say that, hey, we study all the time. If you want to come study with us, if you want to leave that bondage, if you think you got to do a whole lot of stuff and you want to leave that bondage and actually learn what the Bible teaches, inbox me. I'm under Mr. William Bell is my mentor. And if you have any questions and stuff, I'm here. Ask us, man. But we got to build this kingdom up. We can't keep letting people take it from us, especially people who are in the same state that we are in. There ain't no prophets today. The Most High ain't sent nobody no sign to let them know if they're right or wrong. What he did was he gave you a Bible, and he said, trust that Bible. He said, I'm going to give you the Bible. You got the internet. You got books. If you want to know, and you have prayer. You have all of this stuff you can use. If you want to know what my words say, use what I give you. A lot of people just use opinion. That's not going to do it. Like I say, I love y'all. Thank y'all for listening. I've been on about 2.5 hours. It's about my time to cut out. Hopefully this was edifying. I just went through the whole Torah, Tanakh, New Testament to show you that everything has been fulfilled. The Bible is complete. We are in the new covenant. We are in the new heavens and earth. All of that stuff is good, fantastic. And I hope and pray that you all listen to this video, go back and rewatch it, subscribe to my channel, Mr. William Bell channel, and just enjoy life. And then once you leave this realm, you get to go right to the next realm, see yourself, see your white robes, see your countenance changed if you're in the new covenant, and enjoy the Father in Christ even more. I love y'all. Shalom, shalom. See y'all later.